from one of the elite facilities in curling in North America, from the Wausau Curling Club. It is the Wisconsin State Curling Championships, and we have moved to the semifinals. Started with 32 teams, down to 8 left, 4 girls, 4 boys. For this semifinal, we're going to do a boys game, and it's the champion from last year, Stevens Point, and the champion from 2 years ago, Wausau West, that are competing on the ice in Inc. 3 right now as they just begin 3, tied at 1 after 2. On the girls' side, it's the Point at Partyville, Portage, and Point foursome that are involved, and those 4 teams on the girls' side have won the state championship, one of those 7, or one of those 4, the last 7 years. So we've got the best here. With me is Adriana Fisher. She's a veteran at this now, and so I have very high expectations. Not really. Anyway, there's a reason. You did a great job earlier, and I welcome you back. And we're back on the ice, and you can start picking it up.
Yeah, we've definitely got the best of the best here. You can see that with the score. It's close. It's going to be a close game for both of these teams. Seems like they're playing a pretty clean game right now.
Yeah, and both teams I shouldn't say both teams. They've played each other before. They're in the same division.
They're in the same division, so
they know each other well.
West has seen Point at their home rink and at the away rink, so this is definitely going to be a game where everybody knows everybody's strengths.
Okay, with the score tied at 1. And here we have the uniforms on Wausau West. And
West does tend to have uniforms. I think it's a choice by most teams to have something. Some schools just go by color. Sometimes they have full on the same outfits. It depends how you want to look on the ice. This one's coming in a little too fast for West.
All right, so that's the first rock. They're the red. Spash is the yellow. So we're back to the seconds now, getting started?
Yes.
Okay. And let me go through the rosters for the boys here. So we'll have them on the screen for you from time to time. For Wausau West, Hunter Britton is the lead. Micah Matthias.
Yes.
With a long I.
Yes.
Okay. Micah Matthias is their second. Ryan McCallum is their vice skip or third. And Carson Kirsch, and that's a curling name in Wausau.
Yes, that is.
A long time family. He is the senior skip. The others are juniors. For Stevens Point, they have the same kind of a setup. Carson Yenter is their first. Derek Brooks, a junior, their second. Chase Haferman is the vice skip or third. And then Joey Dobbs, who's been at it in the leadership role at Point, he's the senior skip this year.
Yeah. Looks like West just came a little wide on that one and wound up spilling out. Still a way to get that rock out of there. I definitely like the idea of playing a clean game here. However, I do think they want to score a little bit more for both teams. West does have hammer, however.
Yeah, they scored the goal in the first end, and Spash came back and scored one in the second.
Yeah, this will definitely be a close game. I think that shows the competition's really equal here.
Well, sometimes the score gets up in the higher numbers. It is not an indication necessarily of skill, but things happen during a contest that cause that.
Correct.
Probably more often with teams that aren't quite as strong.
Yeah. There's often a lot of mistakes. They're accidentally coming wide, coming narrow, or path of ice you just don't know correct, and it curls more than others.
Well, we've got ourselves a count.
Yeah, count of 1. I think it's the only one in play right now, actually.
Yep. This is game 7 for me this weekend in the state tournament. And I have seen a little bit of that. People say that the boys like the takeout more. The girls like the house.
Yeah, the girls usually do play more draw games than take games, along with putting up more guards. It really does depend, though, on how well your team plays and what their strengths are. You have to play to your team more than play to the other team or whatever's in the house. However, both of these teams are quite strong in takeouts, so I think playing a takeout game for either of them will work quite well.
This is the second shot here for the Warriors. There you can see the skip.
They just peel them out of there, so now West is probably just going to draw.
Well, West has the hammer, so what they're looking at right now is still to their advantage.
Yeah. West is definitely looking to score 2 here if they can. Try and get up on point as much as they can, especially with them being the defending champs from last year. They're really sweeping this one, trying to make sure that it's touching. They really don't want to guard right now.
Okay, they
got it in.
Got it in, the 12-foot.
Looks like Point's just going to call another takeout. I think that's a smart decision for him.
Good concentration.
Yeah, very focused right now. It's a big game for all the teams, so.
Well, this records, boys winners in this tournament go back to 1959. The girls goes back to 1976. And Wausau Senior High was the winner of the very first state tournament for boys.
Correct.
I believe they started out the tournament in Madison, if I'm not mistaken, as a location. But it's been here since this place opened, and I can understand why. 8 ice sheets, a big cafeteria, meeting room, locker rooms, quite the facility.
Yeah, having the ability to have 8 sheets when you're playing state is really nice. It keeps the tournament going. You don't have to put all your draws right next to each other. You can spread it out for a few hours. Also gives people a little bit more time to play games in case games are slower. You have to do more thinking.
Well, at the end of the last set, on the girls' side, they had a tie that they had to overcome. Did you watch that at all, or whatever?
I did not watch it, but I did hear from someone that there was a tie.
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, those are those crucial games, though. You know, you have to always take your time with some of those shots in that last end, because especially if you don't have hammer and you're down.
Yeah. Okay, we're even at 1. We're up to the skips now.
First shot by the skip.
Splash, that's Joey Dobbs. And he watches it. He doesn't go along with the sweepers, or the broomers.
Yeah, that's a common preference between skips. Sometimes they like to follow them, sometimes they don't follow, and not following is often just to be able to watch line a little bit more, as well as to make sure that you don't accidentally fall or trip or accidentally kick the stone as well.
You're not a part of that
Yeah.
aspect, which is a big part of it, sweeping.
Sweeping is a huge part.
Well, Spash does have one in the house.
I believe it's the only rock in play right now. I don't think there's any guards either, so.
Nope, nothing. Look at that.
It's going to be a very clean house.
And the crowd now, the crowd has slimmed down because we're down from 32 teams down to 8. And there are a lot of these teams that, are from some distance. Some will stay. They're interested. Sometimes they'll check with the athletes. The parents or coach will check with the athlete. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And sometimes they choose to stay, and sometimes, let's go.
Yeah, correct. And most teams, I mean, we're broadcasting obviously, but we also have a lot of teams that take videos or put them on Facebook. So there's a lot of ways to watch the other games too if you're really interested. So
Right.
that teams do. A lot of teams video their games for footage to rewatch for next year.
Yeah, I've talked to some coaches that have done that.
Yeah.
They may watch Wausau era Access Media, but that's not their only source.
Yeah, correct.
And that makes sense. Because for them, it's a teaching tool.
Last shot for point right here.
Yeah, West has a hammer, so they're going to have a chance to score at least one. Point might separate them a little bit, though. And I see what they did. Okay, it's just a basic takeout.
Looks like West is just going to try the take to just sit one here rather than risking anything.
Well, we go 1-1-1.
It's going to be a close and good game here. You can definitely tell these are some of the best players here.
Do they, and I suspect they do, because statistics are a big part of any sport. Do they keep stats on success on certain shots that they take?
I'm not sure. Some teams do take stats on every game specifically and everything they do. Some teams are not as specific with how their stats are. So it really depends on the team, the preference, and how they plan to really move forward and how they want to. Especially with younger teams, I understand taking statistics just so the next year you kind of know what to work on.
You know, it's a philosophy that the coach maintains that they deal with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks like that was a blank end.
A blank. I haven't seen a blank.
Haven't seen a blank yet?
No.
Well,
I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years at least, and I don't think I've ever seen a blank.
Well,
maybe one.
maybe one.
Yeah.
There was a few blanks this year, but not a lot. I don't think that were streamed or anything. It's very uncommon to see a blank in high school.
Well, that stays at 1. Now the hammer stays the same then too, right?
Yeah.
Everything stays the same?
That's probably why West decided to stick to having it, is they have the hammer going into the 4th.
Well, and in the next end, they might have a better opportunity to score more than 1. So that's kind of in their head too.
Yeah.
We get 1, but we lose the hammer.
Yeah, exactly. So really taking the hammer and blanking that in was honestly probably the best thing they could have done.
So we maintain the same setup here. This is the first attempt, release for West, for Hunter Britton, their first, or lead. It looks heavy.
Not sure if Point has one in the house that they're trying to take out or not.
No. Yeah, well, here we go. Now, one thing that I've already noticed, they're pretty heavy.
They are.
So maybe the ice
might be keened up by now. Once you go down a path about 3 times, you've basically hit the max of how fast that path is going to be. However, they really got to watch. You got to watch the ice the entire game because things are constantly changing, and as people are moving off the ice, when teams leave, ice slows down.
Well, this is Spash. Second shot for Carson Yenter, their lead.
Looks like they're just going to barely get it in the house.
Yeah, they'll get it in the white. The 8.
Looks like West is just going to try to take it out and do the same. Looks like they're kind of setting up the same way they did the last end.
I suspect when we get to ends 6, 7, and 8, it's going to take more time between tosses.
It's going to be a lot more strategy and a lot more communication between teams.
Here's the leads second. For Weston, that's Hunter Britton. And you called it. And they still maintain count.
Looks like Point is just going to try the hit and roll here. I like that idea. Really keep bringing West and Point. Just as long as they can keep making the shots and taking them out there, they're going to have a really close game. This is going to could be another blank end.
And what they want is, they're good programs, good teams.
Yes.
They want to have that chance. They want to show they've got the pride.
Yeah.
To show at the end. So
yeah, both teams have really good coaches, so really good programs that have set up. So it's a really good competition, these two.
This one will count in the back end. It's there.
Seems like West might be taking it out. I would either take it or I would sit on it. Really depends on how you want to play it out. If you want to play a blank end again, stick with Hammer going into the 5th, then I like that decision to take it out.
Well, we'll see shortly what he's decided.
Jumping on sweep right away.
Well, he's got the line. There you go.
Nice takeout.
Yeah.
Looks like Joey's just going to follow him down and have them do another takeout for his team.
When you say Joey, you're talking about the skip.
Yes, correct.
Joey
Dobbs,
a senior. Spash has 4 seniors, a junior. West has 1 senior and 3 juniors. A younger team. They're going to set a record for time, Element, the way they're going. We're in M4 already. Almost halfway through.
That one was just a little narrow and it went by.
Yeah, that could change strategies now a little bit.
Yeah, West is definitely just going to put another one in there and see what Point can do. See if Point's going to maybe try to draw or if Point will try to double him out depending on where they wind up.
This is the second one for Micah Matthias.
Looks like they're sweeping it in. It's a really nice rock. Just a little far behind the tee line than they probably wanted, but
yeah, it's there though, and that now will cause a little bit of a change.
Yeah, there's definitely still a double there, I think, if they hit it correctly, if Point hits it correctly, but the double's a lot harder than just the single take.
It's all about angles.
Yeah.
And weight too.
Yes.
Well, they've got an out draw. Plenty of speed. Wow.
Looks like they just got the one. They're barely sitting out there, but
yeah, maybe.
yeah, might be questionable one out there.
Time and time again in this tournament this weekend, the above camera is a little misleading as to what it really is about.
Very true, and it does change a lot because sometimes those biters, those are game changing for sometimes.
This is the vice skip Ryan McCallum for West with his first.
Don't seem to be sweeping. Looks like it's going to be pretty nice. Maybe even a little bit up. Looks a little fast.
Yeah, that looks like it's out.
Well, that one's through. So right now, Point's hitting pretty nice because with that miss from West, Point's got this easy straight take, and they could be sitting 1, maybe even 2 if that one's biting in the back.
This is the first shot for their third. Chase Haferman, one of the seniors.
That's really curling a lot.
And it's
But it's
speed.
going to be nice.
Well, we're going to start over.
We're going to start over.
Except West has the hammer, so
Correct.
they've got one extra rock to deal with.
Looks like West is going to try and come and sit down on that yellow or even push it out and just to make sure that it's not sitting.
You know, it's even interesting to say that rock sitting there by itself could mean something.
It really could. It could change. I mean, it makes West really have to put one in. And it basically means there's probably not going to be a blank end here, which I'm not sure if that's what West wanted or not. This looks a little light, so West has really got to hope this gets in, otherwise they could be sitting with point being able to draw in for 1, even 2, depending on where that back yellow is sitting.
Well, that's not what they wanted to do,
No.
I don't think.
Not at all. That's not what West wanted, because Joey Dobbs, the skip for point now, he has a simple draw in behind that guard for 1 and at least.
Well, you've got the skip involved. Joey Dobbs. Decision's basically already been met based on the quickness he goes to the hack. And
Yeah, these teams are pretty quick in their decisions. They really want to make sure that they use their time correctly and make sure that they don't go too far over the time limit. We usually have 2 hours, but there's usually about 2.5. However, whoever wins this game is going to have to go right back on the ice about an hour later after this game is finished. So they want to make sure they have a lot of time afterwards, after this game, so that they could possibly get something small to eat.
a little energy.
Yeah.
They need it.
Point's really trying to carry this as far as they can. Looks like it's going to come up possibly a little short. They might just barely get it around.
I think they get it in there as a count.
They'll get it in there for a count. It's not exactly as far behind the guard as they probably would have liked it.
Right. Yep. Well, we're sitting at a situation now where, you know, West has the hammer, but Spash is in good position to challenge them and get a steal.
Correct. I think West is trying to figure out if they want to take out that yellow that Point has or if they want to draw to the other side. I think West should probably take one of Point's out just based on the skill that Point has to take out so far. They really got to make sure that Point doesn't sit a lot here.
Yeah, you don't want, you have the hammer. You don't want a steal to begin with, and especially more than one.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about it. Okay, you can see the scoreboard there, pretty light.
Yeah, you just got the first and second end. They're both scored 1 in the first end, and or West scored 1 in the first end, and then Point scored 1 in the second end, and then the blank was in the third end.
Yeah. Okay, Carson Kirsch, the skip, senior for West. Good release. Obvious concentration, focus. And he's got some weight, and they're going to make sure it gets where they want it to go.
Really nice shot by Carson.
Yeah, that now if they can stay in, and they're not going to, well, they are in the white.
Yeah, they're going to sit over there, but I think Point's just going to take it out and take the roll. So then they're going to be sitting too, so it's going to be West to either try and take and roll in their last shot or even draw for 1.
But West is in better position now than they were.
Yes.
After that shot. Yeah, we're moving along. This is in 4. And we haven't seen anything real complicated yet.
No. They've been keeping a pretty simple game, pretty clean. A lot of concentration there.
shot for Splash. Joey Jobs. He knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good takeout, and he leaves him in the red in the 4-foot.
This really makes West have to make sure that they get this takeout here. If West doesn't make the takeout, point could be sitting 1 or 2 depending on where that West rock ends up.
Well, the thing that Dobbs did well is where he placed the rock.
Correct.
Because it's not on the edge somewhere where, okay, the middle's wide open. That's not the case. So, like you said.
Yeah. It also makes the double really hard for West.
Yeah. Well, let's see what they come up with. Carson Kirsch.
Looks like it's going to be nice.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks more than good.
Really nice takeout by Carson.
So they got one.
They got one.
So now it's West 2, Spash 1 after 3 into 3, and the hammer belongs to Stevens Point. Now when I say point, that's kind of a habit. It is Stevens Point Area Senior High if you want to look at the whole acronym. But if you look at the results, the boys champions over the course of the year since 1959, Stevens Point has won more than their share. Well, they won in 22. West won in 2019. That was their last one. And then Point won last year. So, let's see. We're just taking a look at Wausau East won in 2006 and 7. Very rarely do they win 2 in a row, and that's what Point's trying to get to right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we sit. 2-1.
Point does have hammer now.
Point with a hammer. And we get started with the lead. So we're looking at Hunter and Britton. Release. Intensity, focus on this.
Yeah, I mean.
Body language and face.
I mean, all of them, they're focused, they're intense. I mean, everything they're talking about right now is curling related. There's nothing else that they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to put one in the button or beyond.
A little far behind, but
pretty close. Yeah, it's in the 4-foot.
Yeah, it's close behind that guard, so it makes it hard for West to try and take that out. Just gonna have to either draw down 2 or top 4 would be even nice for them.
Okay. Second shot coming up for West. Hunter Britton their lead.
It's a nice release. Looks like they're sweeping for weight right now. Looks a little down, especially since they want it to be top 4.
Yeah, they
might be sitting pretty good though, and they do have a little bit of backing. Oh, it overcurled.
I think, yeah, it's going to end up in a situation they didn't want.
Yeah. It's not a terrible thing, but it does leave Point open with a wide open button, so that they can draw around those guards too and be sitting pretty close to the button.
And they have one there already, and they have the hammer, so let's see if they can build on that or if West can counter somehow. All the way down.
Point's really sweeping hard, making sure this will get there.
Yeah, they want a count in there somewhere.
At least get.
And they'll get one.
Looks like really nice.
Yeah.
Looks like it might have been a little wide, and they probably wish it would have been a little bit
A straight
more.
line more.
Yeah, behind those guards, but still pretty nice. It's still pretty open for West though right here. So West might have a take. They even could potentially have a double here. Let's see what they come up with.
This is the first shot for Matthias. Micah Matthias. His brother was a commentator with me yesterday.
Correct. Looks like West just got one of them out, which is better than nothing right now.
Yeah. Well, they've got the count at this point, so what it does is changes the situation, and that's what curling is all about.
Yeah.
Every end. Situation, all different.
Yeah. Curling's it's a sport you got to stay focused the entire game. The ice is constantly changing. Players, sometimes you think your player's really good at takes one game, and the next it's draws, can't get their weight down. It's a game where you got to really pay attention to every little thing. Sometimes there's a little flick in the wrist on a certain player, and you got to make sure that you watch that.
Okay, we're into the seconds now of the rink. Foursome.
They're really sweeping this one hard. Not sure exactly what their call was, but looks like it just barely overcurled and hit that front guard.
Yeah, okay. So now things haven't changed that much.
No, West does have two in the house, so if that point rock is open at all in the back four, that could put West in a pretty good situation if they can take it out.
West leading 2-1 in number 5. So we're already in the second half.
Yeah. These games have been going by pretty fast. I think it'll start to slow down a little bit as we get maybe after this end, just based off the fact that it's going to be more crucial to make sure that these shots are all exactly where you want them to be.
Yeah,
looks like it might just barely get there.
Yeah. Okay. So now, count 1 for West. You know, the fact that these two teams are that good, that they're in the semifinals, and the last 2 years they've been champions, when you watch them now, there's so much that happens every end almost, that it's like, hey, that's a good shot.
Yeah. There's very rarely any misses during these games, and if they are, they're not misses that are going to change the entire factor of giving someone a difference of 4 or 5 points.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we missed a shot and you just gave them one. It's a really good game that we're watching here.
Okay.
It's a nice shot by Point. Little more separation than they would have wanted.
We just have to keep in mind they have the hammer.
Yeah.
You know, and we're halfway through the rocks. We got 16 now. We got 8 on one end taken care of, or in the house, and so we're going to the thirds now.
Looks like there's some talk with West of what they want to do here.
Ryan McCallum.
I think West shots right now are trying to figure out if they want to possibly guard the one they're sitting, or if they want to possibly try and take the yellow out, because it is set up where Point could come down and hit the yellow into the red, and they could sit 2 even 3. So I think they're trying to figure out what they want to guard here, or if they want to try and take out one of Point's.
And there is no time limit.
No.
I mean, there's an encouraged time limit.
Correct.
But it's not in the books.
Correct. It's really mostly just to make sure that all the teams that traveled from a few hours away can get home before it's midnight. And I mean, afterwards, when everything's all declared and there's gonna be lots of pictures taken. So it's just making sure that everything can get done at a reasonable time and everyone can get home.
You know, this is one sport where, you know, they really do realize these are high school age competitors.
Yeah.
The parents are out of the way.
Yeah.
The coaches behind the glass.
Yeah.
They have one timeout each.
Yeah, I think that's really the nice part too, is it really makes everyone have to make sure that they know the sport as well as they can. Otherwise, it's kind of a free for all for everyone that's on the ice. You gotta know what you're talking about, what you're calling, because you don't have as many timeouts as in other sports.
Well, and the communication, the quote friendship of I think the vice skip and the skip has to be really something important.
You all really have to understand the strategy you want to play and understand your strategy overall. So it's a sport where everyone's got to know strategy. No one can just, as a lead, you can't just be like, oh well, I'm not gonna ever be in the house calling, so I don't need to know. Everyone's got to know it and they got to understand it, just because it is a team sport at the end of the day.
Well, each team in a typical 8-end contest, what was that, 64 rocks?
Yeah.
Each team?
Something like that, yeah.
8 8s, 64? I mean, that's a lot.
That is a lot of rocks.
And yet, again, it happened, down to the last rock.
Yeah. Well, and that's what some of these games are going to be today, with how close they are and there's such good competition for boys and girls side. It's going to come down to being 8-end games most likely, and it's going to be really close. It'll definitely be a game of millimeters and inches today.
Well, West now with the red getting set to go. And this is the first one for Ryan McCallum, the junior. One of 3 juniors on that foursome rink.
Yeah, they have a young team, but kind of an old team with 3 juniors and a senior. Yeah. They'll be a strong team next year as well. Unlike Point, they've got a really old team and a strong team this year, so it'll be interesting to see what they look like next year.
Yeah, and that tells because they're the defending champions.
Correct.
So.
Not sure what West was going for there. They're still sitting 1, but not sure what position this leaves Point, and there's a potential chance that they could take out that one that's sitting in there that's West, but I think it's a little risky. They might want to just guard it up and let West take one.
Chafe Hiffman, their vice skip, is posing like the statue in Paris. The thinker.
Yeah, it looks like they're all trying to figure out what they're what's going to happen here. They're not quite sure what to call and what's going to be the best decision.
Yeah, the 2 teammates who are handling the brooms, they're watching too, so they know what's expected. Yeah, this one's taking a while. Well, they're down 2-1. We're in N5. They have the hammer. So when you look at this end, this is a critical shot.
It is. It is. Point would really like to score 1 here, even if they could score 2 and be up on West going into the 6th. That would be really nice for them.
But they don't want West to steal one here.
No, you really can't let West take one, because then you're going to be down 2 in the 6th end, and that you don't got a lot of time left then, especially with how close the competition and how little people have been scoring in these games.
That seems to be picking up weight, or maybe that's just a perception.
It does look pretty fast.
Yeah, look at. Yeah, well, they still have the hammer, and they have the skips. So there's time. As we go to, speaking of skips, we go to the skips now. So it's Carson Kirsch, curling family.
Yeah, very much so. Older brother curls, family curls, yeah. It's a well-known name in the Wausau area for sure, even in the general curling community. Looks like they're talking over the shot right now just so everybody knows what to do.
Now you can tell they're in the latter stages now just by the time it takes for them to come to a conclusion.
Yeah.
More critical.
For sure. Focus and concentration is definitely a lot stronger in these games than you've seen even in some of the games earlier yesterday and today.
Mm-hmm.
They're really sweeping this hard. Not sure if they wanted what they were going for here. I'm assuming probably just a guard, but since they're sitting one.
Looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they pulled up the brooms and accomplished, I think, what they wanted to.
Looks like Point might be looking to raise that red back into the other red and see if maybe they can pop the one near the button out. I think that's Point's only shot here right now if they want to make sure that West doesn't sit anything.
First shot for Joey Dobbs. First release.
Point's really looking at the angles, making sure that they can get there and make sure they can slice it out without hitting their back yellow out.
Okay, there you can see the score. It really reads 2-1.
It does.
We've never looked at that kind of score before. You wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
It does.
It does read 2-1. Curling's a weird scoring thing, you know. Everyone, there's usually a score every single end, but it's only by one team. No one can score in the same end.
And they keep their score. They can't lose score.
Yeah.
But we've had 2 blanks.
1 blank or 2?
Well,
I believe it was just the 1 in the third.
yeah.
Yeah.
The 1 in the third. You're right.
Which is still a lot different than you see in most games. They're sweeping this one.
This is a critical one because they lost out on the last one. And they're heavy. Oh!
Heavy and a little wide, however, this could change.
It's close. I'd still give West the point.
Yeah, I think West is still sitting. However, it really does change the entire thought process for West and what they got to do. They really got to make sure that there's a guard here so that Point can't get in there. And I do think with how the Rocks are positioned, there could be maybe even a double for Point if they don't guard it up.
Well, right now, West is sitting 1 count. But that one, if, like you said, if Spash takes that out, they have the advantage goes to them, and they have the hammer.
Exactly. So Point is probably sitting better right now than West is sitting, even though West is sitting 1. Just because Point has the counter and the last shot.
Okay. Carson Kirsch. There's Skip. With some help, has made a decision. Maybe.
Yeah. I think he made a decision. I think he's just trying to tell his team what he's seeing.
Right. He's got his teammates right there to converse with.
Focus is really strong on this shot.
Mm-hmm.
This is a critical shot for West. They got to make sure that they get this where they need it to be.
Well, you've got 2 very experienced, very good skips. You know, so what you set up for that last end, you know, both of them can make things happen.
Mm-hmm. Looks like they just went for a guard.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what their plan was for the guard here, what it really did. Maybe I think it just stopped the draw in from the other side for Point to possibly get to the button. Looks like they're having their teammates sit in the hack and see if they could possibly see an angle, if they could take those 2 reds out of West.
This is not an easy shot coming up for them,
No.
though. They have the hammer, but you look at what's sitting in the house. there's one there that actually is a count for West.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, I mean, the miss on this shot, if Joey jams with that yellow in the back that's sitting there, they could give up 2 to West, and that really is not what they want.
Yeah. West could steal one here, or 2.
Or 2, yeah. Which would really change the game for Point.
Point the defending champions, West the champion the year before, 2022. And people on some.
Looks like they just threw it through here. Just give West 1.
Yeah.
They didn't want to risk possibly giving 2.
Take the chance. They do keep the hammer.
They do.
But West did steal one. So it's 3-1 after 5 ends. Spash keeps the hammer. Okay, 3 to go. About as low a scoring game as I've been involved with this weekend.
Yeah.
For good reason.
Shows the competition is strong here and pretty equal teams. It's just how the Rocks have played out so far.
Well, you look back at that last end, it was the one shot that took the button position.
Correct.
Because it was not only taking the button position, it didn't matter, it was a couple inches, but it also was in a position that was very difficult to deal with.
Yes, very much.
And eventually Spash decided not to.
Yeah. Well, and that's the big thing with guards. Sometimes guards are really useful for your team, but if you don't get behind those guards before the other team gets there, your guard is basically useless. And sometimes people have got to peel them away. Just got to peel your own guard away just to make sure that you can get to their rock.
Well, Spash getting their first rock here. West decided to set up a guard. They've got the 2-1 lead, or 2-point lead now, so
yeah,
they can change their strategy a little bit.
Yeah, I think Point's going for a guard here too, which they really need to. They got to make sure they can get something to hide behind because West is just going to start taking them out. They got to make sure that Point doesn't score anything here. Point's really pushing to make sure this gets over and as close to the house as they possibly can.
Okay, well, it's a guard, but
not very close to the house, however.
No. Okay. Momentum, if I can say it right now, momentum leans toward West a little bit.
Yeah.
Not just the 2-point lead, but also what's happened here early in 6.
Yeah.
I thought I lost it on you, Dylan, but that was beautiful.
Well, and that's the thing, once one team starts scoring one and then they score another one and another, you score more than 2 ends in a row, you pick up momentum and you pick it up fast, especially when you're playing your game as strong as they are. And Stevens Point is definitely going to have to pick up their pace, make sure they can try and gain their momentum back, because West is not slowing down right now.
Okay. Well, they've got not the straight line guard, but they've got one sitting back there now.
Still a little hidden behind the guard, but not as hidden as they definitely wanted it to be.
Right. Okay, we move on to Yenter.
I think Point is just trying to draw behind their guard right now, which I think is a smart decision because they really got to make sure they use their guards that they put up. It's a smart, if you're going to put up a guard, you got to make sure you use them. Otherwise, it was pointless to use that rock as a guard. This one looks a little slow. They really seem to be pushing and trying to carry it as far as they possibly can.
Carson Yenter. Yeah, it's going to make it.
It's going to make it, but it's not going to outcount West one.
No, not at all.
However, it is a possible raisable rock for Point. However, it looks like West is going to try to take it out right away.
Mike Matthias. Nice release.
Really sweeping it here.
Picking up speed. It looks to me like it's picking up speed.
It did.
And it did exactly what it wanted to do. Although,
They won't be sitting there.
no. Okay, so now it becomes a much simpler situation for Spash without that other rock.
Correct. However, I'm not sure what Point's going to do here. Looks like they're calling for a normal take, so I'm wondering if they're going to do a peel or if they're going to try and take that one out in the house.
This is Brooks, their second. Okay. Well, that's a game changer right now a little bit.
Looks like they peeled out the guard and they got the one in the house, but they left that other one still in there, so West is still sitting better than Point is right now.
Yeah. The only thing they've got is the hammer. And West up by 2.
In the 6th end, yeah. And we're getting close to the end of the end. With just the last shots of the seconds coming up.
Yep. That's Micah.
They're really West really monitoring this rock right here, trying to figure out if they should sweep or not.
Well, it's in a good spot, and there is a guard on top that's being supplied by Spash, but
Correct.
there's plenty of room.
Yeah, there's a chance for Spash to get around here.
Yeah, there's room. This is the second rock for Derek Brooks. Their second. We'll be halfway through N6.
They're really not touching this rock at all. Looks like it could be a little bit faster.
I don't know.
Looks like they really gotta hope it's gonna start curling. That one just came out a little wide and even a little bit heavy.
They have the count in there now, so
True.
they did accomplish that much.
Yeah.
You know, Adriana, this is fun because there's a certain level of intensity involved, and you can see it in the kids.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You can see it in them, and just how they're handling things, and the body language, and everything else that goes with it. Nice take out.
Yeah, they got it out. You know, I think there's still a chance for Point to sit here. They just gotta really make sure that they can get this one in and it's got the right weight.
This is Hafman. Third, Chase, first name, Chase Hafman.
There's a lot of focus in these kids right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for a lot of these players, this is the last time they're ever gonna play, especially
Right.
if you're a senior. So
Right.
you really gotta zone in and make sure you can make things happen. This looks like it's gonna be a little wide. They might be able to sit, but I'm thinking they might come a little wide. It did sit really nicely, and they are sitting one, I believe. But I do believe it's wide open for West to come down and take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you look from up above, it looks like they have
Yeah,
the count.
but it is deceiving.
Point has the point. But you're right, it has been. I've been guilty of that throughout, trying to determine, which is closer to the button.
Yeah. We've had a few times where we've assumed it's one team and it's been the other team, which just shows you how close that these rocks are.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like they just threw a guard. Not sure if they're thinking they're sitting one or They're just trying to make sure they can just give point one. Does seem like the draw is wide open for point though, however, right now.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you to go through the scoring for our viewers here in a minute.
Sounds good.
You know, relative to the house.
Yeah.
Because we haven't done that yet.
No, we have not. This definitely needs to curl a little bit in order to get there, but looks like they're sweeping. Make sure that weight gets there. Point's really pushing, trying to make it get there. And they've carried it a while. Not going to be enough, but pretty close.
Now, as players on the ice for these two teams, do you, looking at this from up above, think they all agree on which button or which point, which rock is the count?
I do. I do think it's pretty clear here that point is sitting one and West is
Okay.
sitting the second count, but they aren't sitting here. But there's times where it's completely deceiving and you really can't tell, especially those ones where you get them in the 12 foot, 8 foot, and you're sitting 2 or 3 and you're trying to see if you could sit 4 or 5 and really determining if you should do a takeout or if you should just draw. It's a hard game to play when you're trying to score a lot. You know, in this game you don't need to score a lot just because how close the game is, but when those games are a lot further apart, like distance of 4 or 5, you got to sit a lot more.
Okay, I'm just asking that question because I'm kind of watching what their strategy has been.
Yeah.
And how it fits their thinking process on that, because it's very different.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're getting down to the skips now.
Well, here's where you can see the scoreboard. So the white numbers are showing you which end you scored in, and the blue numbers show you how many points you scored. So for West, they scored 1 in the first end, and then point came back and scored 1 in the second end. And then in the third end, we had a blank, so you hang that above the number.
Right.
However, then in the fourth end, West scored another 1, so that means they have 2 points. And in the fifth end, they scored another 1, so they have 3 points.
Okay.
And it really is the determination of that is who's closer to the button and how many are close to the button without being outcounted by West or a point. So if West has 3 on the 4 foot, but point has 1 right on the button, point would sit 1 and West would sit 0. So it's not how many you have in the house, but who has more closer to the button when the end ends.
And we've had a blank here, which
We did.
is different.
Yeah.
When nobody scores.
Yeah.
No one scores.
Which is often played in a more competitive game, so I can see why there would be a blank in this end, however, or in this game, but it's a lot different because most times you're thinking, well, wouldn't you want to score? But sometimes if you get a blank end, that means you keep hammer into the next end, and hammer is sometimes a little bit more crucial than points depending on where you are in the game. Looks like West over-curled just a little bit. So this might be just a straight take, even just the sit for point. I think point's going to try and go with the sit just because if they do a take, West might have it perfectly set up to do a take to sit 1.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This is the first rock. Spash with the hammer for Joey Dobbs.
I have a feeling Joey, with his decision to make a draw, he's definitely got a plan for his last shot to probably do a take of some sort or a run back with his yellow into the red so that he can sit 3 even 4 right now.
Well, like you said, their thinking moves through, not just the moment.
Correct.
And of course they have to if they have a bad shot, they've got to forget about it next time they pick up the rock.
Yeah.
Focus on here and now.
Yeah, this is definitely a game where if you miss a shot, you got to let it Gotta let it fly off your back, otherwise you're gonna be done for the game. You really gotta make sure. They're really sweeping this, trying to make sure they can get around the guard and really sit in there nice. It's gonna be a really nice shot for Stevens Point.
There you go. Now, it still may be just one, though.
It might still just be one now that he bumped that one back.
But he's got the hammer left.
He does.
And you take a look at that. West has to do something.
Yeah, West does have a button open where they could reasonably go and sit right on it.
Right.
And they could possibly sit one right now. So I think Point had that one go a little further back than they would have liked. But I don't think Point is sitting in a bad position here.
Okay. Carson Kirsch, last rock end 6. This one's moved along. Slow down here because it's getting more and more intense. It's a semifinal. It's not even the championship yet, but it's a semifinal.
Yeah.
So, and these two teams are winners. Spash won the whole thing last year. It stayed here, and 2 years ago, Wausau West. There. How about that?
All right. Well, West is definitely sitting one now, so Point's really got to see if they can hit that red out of there in any way and see if they could sit. If they can't get that one out, I mean, they're going to be down another one going into the 7th end, and they're not going to be sitting great.
You'd almost say in this, where it's low scoring now, everything counts so much, that this shot can determine a lot.
It could. I mean, if Point gets this red one out of there, I think they'll be sitting maybe 3, which would also change the game because they would all of a sudden be ahead of West. However, if they don't make this shot, West is going to be ahead by 3 in the 7th end.
All right. Takes off the glove. He means business. Got to make sure you have the weight to do it, and he does, it would appear.
He's got some up weight. I think they were trying to possibly get a peel on that red one that was in the house so that they could possibly sit high.
Oh, well, West gets one.
West gets one. It was a close shot there. I mean, they had to try something to get that one out of there.
Yeah. West gets one, so the only thing good for Spash, they keep the hammer, but they're down 3 now with 2 ends to go. To a team like West, that is going to be a real challenge.
Yeah.
That is going to be a real challenge. And we will be covering the boys championship, I believe. That'll be coming up later this afternoon or early evening. Marshfield and Poynette were seeded 2 and 3. In this game, West was seeded 1 and Point was seeded 4.
Okay.
So the defending champion was seeded 4. But timeout here as Jim Wendland talks to his rink, and we take a look at ourselves.
Yeah.
With not much going on out here, but we can talk a little bit about what's coming up. The semifinals for the girls was all the letter P: Poynette, Partyville, Portage, and Point.
Yeah.
Stevens Point, Spash.
Yes.
And they are involved in this semifinal on different sheets.
Yes.
They're a little bit separated, from each other.
I think they're 2 sheets difference.
In between, yeah. So then Point and Portage winner will take on the Poynette and Partyville winner.
Yes.
And as I mentioned when we started out here, looking back at the winners, for girls, it's been those teams. Poynette has won at the last 2. They're looking for their 3rd straight. Before that, it was Partyville and Portage. So we've got 3 teams involved right there already.
Yeah.
Then we go back to 2018, and it's Stevens Point.
Yeah.
So in the last 7 years, it's been those 4 teams.
Which it shows you the skill that there's been. I mean, it doesn't show you the runners up, so I'm not sure who were all the runners up, but I mean, it shows you that those teams have got some great coaches, great programs that they've put together.
And they're all located kind of a little bit south of Madison.
Yeah. Except Point. Point is
Yeah.
obviously north, but
Yeah. Okay, we're into N7 already, and West up 4-1.
this one looks like it came up a little short for West. I'm not sure if they're really trying to put any guards up right now. If I was West, I wouldn't be putting up guards because that's something Point can hide behind.
The winner of this game will take on the winner of the Marshfield Poinet game that's going on right now too. And we can't see what's happening on ice because we're looking at a monitor in a loft up above,
Yes.
looking at a wall
Yeah.
behind the monitor.
Yeah.
So, you know, we can tell sometimes when something happens because of the cheering or that sort of thing, but
That's just about it. You can hear occasional screaming though from the ice. Just if the skip is being really loud, you can hear the occasional yell from throughout the ice, I've noticed.
Okay, second shot coming up for West. For their rink, their Kirsch rink, this is Micah Mathias, one of their 3 juniors. It would be a feather in their cap to win a championship today with 3 juniors.
It would be.
It's got the out draw.
It's a little fast. It's gonna sit a little. It's gonna sit in the back though.
Yeah, it'll be a count. Okay.
Definitely a little bit deeper than West would have liked though.
Second shot coming up for Carson Yenter.
Point has definitely got a strategy that they definitely got to have a strategy here that they can score at least 2 here. Even 3 would be nice for them to tie it up going into the 8th end, even if they don't have hammer.
Well, West is able to steal a couple on them.
Yeah, West has stole a lot.
You know, the last couple ends they've stolen one. So
looks like it's going to be a really nice rock for Point.
okay. Now we go to the seconds. For West, we go with Matthias. Matthias.
Yes.
It's happened.
Hey, you know.
I happen.
Names are hard these days. Really sweeping this. Was nice shot by West. They did get it out. So West is sitting 2 now. They're sitting really nice.
I've been impressed. West is playing well.
West is playing really well.
You know, Spash Stevens Point has had some off shots that didn't do what they wanted and actually hurt them.
Yeah.
Where I don't think West has really wasted more than a couple of rocks.
No, I don't think so. West has played a really strong game. I think Point's really gotta make sure that they can get something here. They can really pull out at least 2 here. Even 3 would be really nice for them. The only negative for Point right now is if they sit here, they're not going into the 8th end with hammer.
Okay, it's starting to develop a little bit. With the second shot coming up for Matthias, Micah Matthias.
This looks like an upweight. They're definitely trying to take out Point's rock, see if
Plenty of weight.
really nice shot by West.
That's really what I was just talking about. They're not wasting any rocks. I mean, they're doing their job.
I mean, they haven't I don't really feel like they've missed that many shots. And I think on the other side, I think Point has missed some shots, specifically some crucial shots that they've needed in order to take even one.
Okay. Stevens Point with their second shot for Brooks, Derek Brooks, their second. We're getting close to the middle of N7 here.
Definitely looks a little up. They're definitely going for a takeout on one of West's rocks, which I think is a smart decision because Point's really got to make sure they can get one in and they can take some of West's out.
Well, they accomplished that.
I believe they're sitting one now too.
They, like you said, they need at least one.
Yeah.
Even because they're going to give up the hammer.
Correct.
No matter what happens if they score.
Correct.
But again, we're at the thirds now, or the vice.
Yeah, we're getting to the end of the 7th end, so it's starting to get with crucial time where they've got to start making their shots and they got to make sure that these shots are the right calls for them.
Ryan McCallum is first for the vice skip. West.
Looks like they were able to take that one out. So
There you go.
again,
Now,
West is sitting with 3. They just can't seem to miss these shots, and
yeah.
you know, Point's got to be a little nervous right now in the fact that they've got to sit and they've only got 4 rocks left to do it, and West is not missing.
This is Chase Hafman, one of their 3 seniors. If they lose, this is their finale for them.
Final game.
For Spash, yeah. And they are the defending champions.
They are. It'd be really cool for them if they could get another state championship under it, but it just looks like West is playing a little bit better than them, which
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah, even this doesn't seem to be. Well, it's there.
It's there, but it's not what they wanted. They definitely
No.
wanted to be sitting on the other red that there was a little further up so that they'd be counting one and it would be extremely hard for West to get out of there.
Yeah, they needed a count on that lark. And they didn't get it.
Yeah.
Second shot coming up now for the third for West. Ryan McCallum gets his instructions, help, hints from Carson Kirsch, the rink leader. And in terms of that phrase of the leader, the skip.
Correct. It's definitely up weight. I think they're trying to dig points out that they have in the house again, and again, it really just wasn't exactly. They did take one of their own out, but
They're
they
still
still
sitting.
yeah, they're
They're
still
still
sitting
sitting.
3. So
And the other part of this is their split.
they are.
They're all over the place.
You know, there's really no way that Point is going to be able to do any type of double here, but I mean, Point really has to put something in that West can't take out. Otherwise,
Yeah,
they're going to be down by 6 going into the 8th end, and that is not going to be easy to come back from.
okay,
even
well,
with
they've
him.
got 3 rocks left, so they have time to make the changes they want to. Is the second one now coming up for Hafman. Chase Hafman.
Looks like they've changed the entire thing. They're going on the opposite side of the ice. I'm assuming they're probably just going to try to draw in. Looks like it's slowing down and it's starting to curl a little bit sooner than they expected. Might be crashing on this guard. Oh,
Well, they made it.
they made it. Really nice shot. Really nice shot by Point.
Okay, that was crucial, and they were able to do it. And you know, it changes things a little bit
Yeah,
because they need at least one, and
Correct.
they do have the hammer.
yeah.
But
I
we're
do.
now at the skips too, so
Yeah, I do think it might be a little bit in the open where West can still get to it. So hitting that one top yellow was a little unfortunate for Point, but the fact that they were able to put it in there is good.
West is in pretty good control though, because even if they give up one, they also have the hammer and they have a 2 lead.
Correct. West is definitely
2
sitting
count
better
lead.
than Point is right now. Just in the overall outcome of this entire game.
This is Carson Kirsch, the skip his first rock release.
They called on sweep right away. I'm assuming that it's either light or narrow. Really trying to hold line here. Crashing with the guard.
Well, judging by the clap sound and where it's coming from, it's one of the girls'
Yes.
games. Something nice happened for somebody. We have half the crowd here as we had earlier today.
Yeah.
Because we're down to 8 teams instead of 32.
Yeah, well, and some of the teams are even, I know, doubled because, I mean, you have Point for the girls and the boys, so.
And Poinette, I think, too,
Yes.
is in both.
Yeah.
Yeah, both, yeah. Poinette and Point, yeah. Yep. There are times when I'm walking through this crowd and you come upon a team with a coach because there's nowhere to go really necessarily to talk to them right before they go on the ice,
Yeah.
and they can't be on the ice with them. Just to listen to what those coaches have to say.
Well, yeah, and every coach is a little different based off the team dynamic. You know, some coaches, they spend like the first or the last 15 minutes before the team goes on talking about strategy, how to keep your head in the game and everything. And some coaches, it's, all right, you got this, you can do it, and then it's just a quick 2-minute talk, and then they let you just figure out your team stuff for the last 10 minutes. And sometimes it's just a quick good luck right before you go. It really depends on the dynamic and what
Yeah.
you think is going to be best for your team.
Which tells me the coaches communicate what they need.
Yes.
The athletes need, this is what we need, coach.
Yeah.
Coach, yeah. Yeah, it's a great sport. It really is.
Really sweeping this one hard.
Well, they've got one more rock after this. Oh, they've got 2 sitting now.
You know, Point's really making a change right here. They're starting to sit something, and West has got to make sure they can take one of these out and make sure that they can sit ahead of Point in order to really secure this end.
All of a sudden, Point has a chance.
I know.
For 2.
Yeah.
No, they didn't have that until that rock. Well, we're in N7. It sounds like somebody else is done nearby. But again, we have no way of knowing what happened there. Sounds like it would have been the other semifinal,
Yeah. I'm assuming so.
which is Marshfield and Poinette. The winner of this one will play the winner that I think just happened. We don't know who it is.
Yeah. Either way, the championship game will be a good game between.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this is the last rock for West, for Carson Kirsch. Skip.
This is some up weight. You know, they might be going for to try to do the split double here.
Wow, they're going after something. Well,
They got one of them. They didn't get the second one, so.
now Spash has a good chance for 2.
Yeah.
If they don't, it's their fault. Absolutely. And then that would mean they go on to end 8, down 1, but West will have the hammer, so they're going to have to steal to tie or win.
Yeah. Steal 1 to tie, steal 2 to win.
Either way, it's coming down to the ground to the last end to determine the winner. I don't see how they're going to get any more than 2. They just,
Yeah, it would have to be some really crazy shots to be more than 2 right now. Points just really got to make sure that they get it in and counting, but it doesn't go through.
Right.
They're not seeming to touch it. They're being very hesitant to make sure they don't oversweep. It's going a little fast, so you really got to hope that it slows down.
It will.
Yeah.
Couldn't have a better shot.
Yeah, really.
Okay, so it's 2 for Spash. We're back into a 1-point game here. West leading going into the end 8. May or not be our last end.
Yeah.
With a 1-point deficit set for Spash. 4-3 West leads. And in 8, West will have the last shot, the hammer. Couldn't ask for more.
No.
For a semi-final.
No,
you really couldn't.
This is one of the best games probably of the entire championship.
Well, it started out, for the first time in the last couple of days, I've seen a blank. And then 1 point here, 1 point there.
This is the first time someone scored 2
2
points.
points, exactly. That's, yeah, they needed 2 and they got 2.
Yeah.
So, here we go. End 8. West the hammer, so that means Carson Yentier of Spash will be the first thrower. And the rock will determine where it goes, what their they're down 1, so their strategy has to be a little more precise.
You know, you definitely need to have a guard of some sort to make sure you can hide behind something, but you can't have too many guards that West gets behind there before you and you're unable to get to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they wanted to do. It's probably not where they wanted as much, but it's there.
Yeah, they definitely would have wanted it a little bit higher, but I don't think they can complain too much.
Okay, this is the first rock for Hunter Britton. The lead, should say, not leader necessarily, lead for West. First rock and 8.
West jumped on sweep right away to make sure that it was over, but definitely looks like it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm. So Marshfield won the girls. No, that's the wrong teams.
No, it seems as though Stevens Point won and Portage was the runner-up.
Yeah, you got it. That's what I was looking for. So Point will be in the final.
Yes.
And we'll know soon enough if the boys are also in the final.
Yes. It's a very close game right now for the boys Point team.
Yeah. Second rock.
Looks like they're sweeping it just at the end, just to make sure that it gets there. Really got to make sure that it gets right behind that guard. You don't want it too far behind the tee line either once it gets in. Just barely biting.
Well, they got it to bite. It's
a nice shot.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Second rock, West, again with the hammer.
West is really making sure that they get these rocks put in the right place right now. They got both people sweeping.
Mm-hmm. Well, the skip is joining them, knowing they have to get in there in the house somehow. Okay. I haven't seen that too often where the skip joins them, so all 3 are sweeping. But I think it did what they wanted it to do. Accomplished.
You know, a lot of times you have your skip come and sweep the rock just to finish it, just because they aren't sweeping all the rocks the entire length of it, so they got a little more strength left in them.
A little energy left. Okay, this is Brooks. Derek Brooks, the second.
They're really sweeping this hard. You can tell that they've picked up their sweep on both sides. They're really, I mean, both of these teams are trying to make sure they can secure the spot.
Okay. Well, first shot coming up for West for Hunter Britton. And the girls' competition is done over there. So we know Stevens Point will be in the championship for the girls' competition. We don't know who will be for the boys because we're watching it.
Yeah.
4-3. West, as you can see, leading by 1.
With
West
hammer.
has the hammer, and this is Micah Matthias.
They're sweeping this one right away. No, these are their crucial shots right now. Even as a second, these are crucial shots.
Okay, they took out a guard.
Looks like Point's just going to try to sit right on that button and try to get behind their yellow guard up front. Really make sure that they can, I mean, right now they really got to make sure that they can get as far behind that yellow as possible without going too far behind the tee line.
Okay. Boy, they are using up some energy.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at, the brooms are all different. I don't know.
Yeah, they are.
Different size, different whatever.
Different brands, there's
Yeah.
different broom heads. It's all about that. And some of them do different things. Some of them you can actually directional sweep with and you can move the rock more. Some of them you can't do it as well. So it really just depends, and depends on the type of broom. It also depends on how well of a sweeper you are if you can get the rock to move.
I think Wausau West is taking over right now.
Yeah. West is sitting 2 right now in the house too, so they're sitting really nice.
Yeah, they've established that in this end, they're up 1 and they're going to finish.
Yeah.
That's what their focus is right now. We're going to finish this.
Both teams definitely seem like the nerves are still there though, because the game isn't over until all the rocks are thrown. So.
Yeah. Well, there's still a chance for a tie too.
Yes.
But Spash would have to steal one for that, and
yeah,
it doesn't look like they're setting that up really.
No. Looks like the skip for Point, Joey Dobbs, is really trying to figure out what his team is capable of doing right now and what's going to be the best for them to successfully win this game. You know, they're in a crucial spot. They're in their last 4 rocks, and they're not sitting anything in the house. They got 1 in the house, but it's not in a good spot to be scoring.
This is Chase Hafman, their vice skipper, 3rd. Not sure about what they're thinking about.
He's really talking to Joey, trying to figure out what they think is going to be best here.
They're starting to feel the pressure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this has been an interesting game because West was up 1-0. They tied it in the second, 1-1. There was a blank in the third. West took over 2-1. West took over 3-1. West took over 4-1 by stealing one. And then Spash, to their credit, in 7 came back a couple.
Yeah.
To make it very interesting.
Oh yeah, let alone no matter what happens in this game, Points definitely was able to come back from being down. So they've shown they can do it.
Yeah. See what this does. It's going to do something.
Just moved West up. I'm not really sure if that's exactly how they wanted to do that, but I mean, Point does have the possible raise of the yellow into the yellow where they could sit 1. So
yeah, remember they only need 1.
Yeah. They only need 1 to tie, and I mean, let alone they'd go into the 9th without hammer again. However, they really just need to get 1 is what their mentality should be right now.
Well, for West, first rock for McCallum, Ryan McCallum.
He came out of the hack pretty fast. There was a big push there at the end, so let's see. Looks like he just got rid of the guard and he just separated those yellows a little bit.
Yeah, he did what he needed to do, I think. There isn't much they have to do now. They just have to plan their strategy right and do it.
Yeah.
Second rock now for Hafman, Chase Hafman.
Yeah, looks like they took a timeout, really trying to figure out how they're gonna be able to score one here for sure, and even possibly two. But right now, West is definitely sitting a lot better than Point, and it's been showing through some of the shots they've been making.
All right, you can see that part of the 8 sheets on this facility, phenomenal facility, during this timeout. West 4, Spash 3, defending champion Spash from last year.
Yeah.
West from 2 years ago.
Yes.
So talk about strength in programs and success.
Yeah.
This is the state championship too. It's not an invitational, it's not a division contest, part of the regular schedule or what have you. This is for a championship. So there's memories involved in this one. Somebody else just finished up winning too. Maybe we can find that out, who's involved.
Yeah, and well, from what I'm aware, from what I can remember, I believe the Point team that won last year is just about the same team that they have out right now.
Okay.
And I do know the West team is a little bit different. I think Carson might have been on the team that won 2 years ago. However, I do know that the West team is a little bit different than the one they had win 2 years ago, but Point team is, from what I can remember, just about the same.
Okay.
So.
Well, there are 3 seniors on that team, so yeah.
It would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like after that timeout, they all seem pretty sure of what they're going to do, and they seem pretty confident in it. So, see what Point does.
Well, confidence becomes a factor.
Yeah.
Knowing yourself and what you can do and what keeps you calm. Because after this one, they only have 2 rocks left.
Yeah, they're. So really close. I'm not really quite sure. From this distance, it looks like Point might be sitting 1, but with this over top camera, you're really not sure.
But that was a good shot.
It was a really nice shot either way.
You know, because now they're going, again, West has the hammer, but at least you're putting on pressure on West to do what they want to do.
Well, that's the thing you have to do as Point. I mean, let alone you want to score 1, even possibly 2, but really got to put the pressure on West to make sure that they know they got to make their shots, that this game isn't over yet.
Okay. West, McCallum.
Looks like it definitely came up a little bit short for West.
Okay.
Looks like Point is just going to try to sit top 4, see if maybe they could touch the button even a little bit, get behind the red that West just threw. West's red that they just put up is really not helping them at all. If anything, it's going to help Point because they've got a guard of that red, and you can't really raise that red back for West at all because of how it's sitting on that yellow. So if Joey for the skip for Point can take advantage of the mistake of West, then they could be sitting really nice here, possibly be sitting 2.
Well, they've had the experience if they're defending champions.
Yeah.
In terms of the pressure.
Yeah.
Joey Dobbs.
Really nice release. Very focused. Right now, Point's just got to watch that weight and make sure it's in, but it's not too far back to push their yellow out. Looks like it's going to be really nice weight.
Yeah, the weight looks appropriate for what they want to do here if they can slide it through. Oh, okay, they've got one yet. They're still sitting one count. But
They're
they have
sitting
one
at
more.
least one, yeah.
But then, they have one more rock to go.
West does have that raise on that red end just to the button.
Mm-hmm. But in a championship contest, this is semi, but it's as close as you're going to get
Oh yeah.
without being the final. This has been a good one. This has been a good, well played
Oh yeah, 100%.
contest. Okay. We got a timeout. Yep. Now this one the players can call, right?
Yes. Players have one and the coaches have one.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like West is trying to figure out if they should draw in on the one side or if they should try that raise in.
Jim Wendland, their coach.
There's a lot of strategy that goes into these last shots for West.
Yeah, one thing here, we don't know who was runner-up, and I think you mentioned that earlier. It could have been these same two teams last year. Who knows? I don't know that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I believe it was Point and Poinette that were playing in the championship last year.
Well, Poinette's going to be back in after they beat Marshfield.
Mm-hmm. Which that game is going on as well right next to them, so.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people behind this sheet right now, too.
Okay.
Looks like Jim Wendling is heading off the ice, and seems like they made a decision that they think is going to be best.
Okay. So they've used their timeout. That can be called by the players. Participants.
From the way the broom looks, it looks like they're going to try to hit that red and wick in on those yellows and possibly remove those yellows, and they'll be sitting one, and they'll be sitting really nice with Point only having one shot left.
Right. Yeah, they've got two because they have the hammer.
Correct.
Come on, John!
Okay. He's got his rhythm routine down.
This is a really important shot for West right now.
Mm-hmm.
They got to be focused right now.
Well, he's the lone senior in his rink.
They're sweeping this one hard. This is...
There they are.
Really trying to make sure that they can get there, at least trying to get that red to move in a little bit. Looks like they hit off that yellow and they rolled out, so that's really not ideal for them. Point is definitely sitting one right now.
Yeah.
However, problem for Point right now is they can't guard both sides. Looks like they're just gonna try and sit top four right here, and
Right.
just to make sure that there's no way they can get to the button on this side.
Boy, this has really come down to it here.
Oh yeah, because I mean, if they don't guard this side, there's a possible draw in for West, but if they don't guard the other side, there's still the possible hit on that red end. So it really is a challenge to see what they're gonna do. I think Point is gonna try to draw in and maybe even sit on the button in the hopes that they'll be sitting three, and that's gonna make West have to take all three of them out or move closer to than at least one or two of them.
This is good. This is good because it's down to the last rock again.
Oh yeah.
And meaningful. Wow.
Yeah.
Semifinal.
Semifinals with four
Last-
seniors on this sheet altogether.
Right, and last rock. This is it.
This is it for Point.
Yeah. They can make it difficult, or West could just send the rock off to the moon.
Yeah, they're sweeping really hard right now. They're really trying to make it get there. Looks like it's going to over curl just a little bit, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
However,
well, right now they may. No, I think West has the point in there. I really do. I do. Well, you can tell by the smiles that I think West believes they have it.
well, West is definitely sitting at least, or East Point is definitely sitting 1 right now. I think West might have the second count. So if they can move this one in just even 2 or 3 inches, they've got this game.
Yeah. Yeah, we almost had a smile on Carson.
We did.
Because he knows he can do it.
Yes.
And here we go.
And
Otherwise, we go to N9.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's the situation.
Really sweeping this. They got to make sure this gets there. In this.
Right, exactly.
Looks like it's going to be 1 for West from what I can see right
yeah,
here.
You couldn't do a better job.
No.
I mean, yeah, I think it is. It is.
Looks like it's 1 for West.
They agree. That's the clapping behind us as West gets to the finals with a semifinal victory over Spash in a great prep curling game.
Yeah.
I almost said hockey. Because, congratulations to Spash, the defending champion. They came within 1 rock of getting back to the final. Wausau West, which won 2 years ago, has an opportunity now in the final to go and win their second in 3 years.
Yeah.
So that's an accomplishment in itself. But a great win for Wausau West over Stevens Point in the semifinal of the 2024 state tournament championships. With Adriana Fisher, I'm George Hirsch. Hope you enjoyed our broadcast of prep hockey. There you go.
Yeah, there you
What a
go.
way to finish. Prep curling from the Wausau Curling Club facility. Until next time, take care.